Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to week 7. Wow, we're almost done. This is it. Okay, take a look at week 6. Hopefully you got as much as I did out of this week 6 presentation typographic history overview. This is great. The presentations for this class are phenomenal. Week 5 is among the best I've ever seen. Week 6 is very, very, very good. Week 7 is really interesting too. So great job there during week 6 presentation, assignment typeface presentation. That was where we began. Let's do this week, guys. I'll go over that in 1 second. Last week we had the Nobel Peace Prize, the front of the poster, and I think that everybody did a pretty good job. I think, once we realized that we're looking for a typographic composition on the front of the poster, and that the remainder of the information in the images go on the back. So it's kind of, it's to be looked at as a two-part type poster where, you look at the front and it induces you to turn it over to the back. So I think everybody's on track there. Pretty much everybody got their comments back. And, well, everybody did. Everybody who submitted by, let's see, actually, I think everybody in the entire class got their comments back on that one. So if you have any questions moving forward, right there, you can get with me. I'm pretty good about getting right back to you. So if you have any questions moving forward, if you want to continue working on the front this week while you're working on the back, that's fantastic. I'm all ears, and I'll be glad to accommodate your request for any sort of guidance or comments or critique comments there. Discussion Nobel Prize poster, talked about that. I think everybody did a pretty good job giving their reasoning behind their conceptual decisions made for the poster. That was the whole idea here, guys. The objective behind this assignment here is this. So if you were wondering why you were being asked to write about this, it's really to mimic what we do in a real life, real world situation where you receive an assignment from your art director, your creative director, and you're asked to research that assignment, and you're asked to write your decisions and give a written synopsis on your decisions on how you plan on conceptually approaching the project. So that's just a little taste of that. So I think everybody did a pretty good job there describing your typefaces, the origin of your typefaces, your color choices, where they originated, and your layout choices. And then we had the final critique. Guys are doing just so well in critique. I'm really super pleased. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. During week 6 critique, a lot of my notes back to students during the critique part of previous classes has been spending time saying, okay, listen, we got to do this for critique. We got to do this. As a matter of fact, a lot of classes, I go through a kind of a structured setup week by week where I ask students to do this week, this. I haven't had to do that at all this session, and I think it's great. You guys are really doing phenomenal. First of all, I think all of you understand the importance behind critique and how it helps you as a designer. Student designers, young designers, get promoted earlier and more often, those with critical and analytical skills, than their counterparts that don't. And that's statistically proven. Again, students and young designers who possess extraordinary analytical and critical skills are promoted earlier and more often, and quite typically into our AD roles, our director roles, more often than their counterparts who don't possess those same skills. So it's really important. Okay, cool. Let's jump into week 7. What are we doing? Week 7 is a busy week. We have an extra assignment here. That's that assignment typeface presentation. I'll talk about that in a second. We got week 7 overview. Self-explanatory. Read it. It has a lot to do with micro, macro, why we look at micro, macro. Presentation is typographic micro and macro analysis. Let's jump in there and take a look at that. It's a good presentation. Like I said, the presentations of this class are just top-notch. And this is no exception. It's a good one too. It really does a great job describing the macro and the micro approach to your typographic composition. And macro, micro, meaning that we take a look at the whole composition first, then we start looking at the minor, typographic relationships, etc. So that's basically it. It's working from the big into the small. So it's starting with the whole image, then working down into the minute little minutia, this tiny little detail in the type relationships in the smallest part of the poster. So it's starting big and working down. Okay, and that's what that whole macro versus micro thing is. But read, that's a good lecture. Plus, it's going to ask you a little bit about that. Actually, no, our discussion board is not about our presentation. Our discussion boards went great this week. I love this, but anyway, we'll get into that in a second as well. All right, assignment 6, typeface presentation. That's due this week, guys. This is I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at week 6. I was going, what? I just went over. No, week 7. Yes. Assignment typographic presentation is due this week. Let's jump open and take a quick look at that. And that's that PowerPoint presentation, guys. I talked about that last week. Here it is right here. Let me open that up a little bit. Okay, so presentation instructions. Each of you must identify and research your current contemporary type designer and typeface. And this is post 1970. Anything after 1970. And then make sure your typeface you choose is after 1970. Prepare a PowerPoint presentation of your chosen typeface and designer. In this presentation, please describe who your designer is. It's just a basic presentation. And here's your parameters right here. So don't forget, that's due this week. So that's that little extra assignment I was talking about in the video. Okay, so then we have part 5. We got our Nobel Peace Prize backside first and second iterations. So I want you guys to do this. I want you guys to think about this. Think about designing the back of your poster not as a continuation of your front, but as an accoutrement to your front, as something that will complement the typographic composition in the front. So in other words, don't just take the visual cues you've used in the front and move them to the back. That won't work. We really want you to understand how to continue working on a design as a not necessarily a basic continuation of that design, but as a development of that design. Okay, hope that makes sense. So and the best way to describe that is just to try to avoid moving your design elements from the front to the back. Your back should be a completely different layout that complements the front, not just continues the front. Okay, hope that makes sense. Helvetica. All right, guys, this is it. This is my favorite movie ever. Well, I shouldn't say that because I've got a few, but one of my favorite films ever. It's phenomenal. I went into it saying, the first time I saw this film, I was like, how really boring is this going to be? A film about typeface, a typeface, not even typography, a typeface. But I watched it and I fell in love with this film, and you will too. I promise you, it's fantastic. It's 4 parts. It's probably an hour, maybe an hour and a half long, the entire movie. I'm not positive exactly how long it is, but I guarantee when you watch this, like you watch part 1, it's like 17 minutes long, before you even look down, it'll be like 16 minutes and some change. This thing just rips by. It's so fascinating for designers, especially design students. And I promise you, folks, if you haven't seen this before, I promise you, you'll look for it again later on. I watch it at least twice a year, and I've seen it 30 times. That's how powerful this film is. Okay, so then we just have our discussion board based on Helvetica, the documentary film. So be sure to watch it. It's really, really worth it. And then finally, to round things out, we have our critique board. Guys, listen, try to get these in on time. All right. For example, if we go to our critique board here, let me just jump over to preview. And I just wanted to go over here, and I want to see that I want to show that every one of these assignment has this big orange block right here that gives the due dates. For example, our critique, you have to post your work by Wednesday night to the critique board, and you have to post your comments by Friday. Okay, I know it seems weird to have a midweek deadline, but we have them, and we've had them all along. So those of you who are missing 2 and 3 points, if you take a look at the reason why, if you've missed 2 points, 3 points here and there, it's because these are falling a day or 2 late from the prescribed due date set in the overview, the orange block in the overview. Okay, so try to get those in on time. Critique, yeah, just fantastic job on the critiques. You guys are just doing so well. I could not even ask for more there. All right, that's what I have, guys. Let me show you. The announcement is up. This is the video that I'm adding to this announcement. So this is up and running and ready to go. Welcome to week 7. Here's everything that you need to do this week. So, all right, guys, great job so far. Any questions, comments, concerns, you know I'm right here. Please feel free to let me know. And if anybody feels like they need further comments or recommendations on your project, let me know, and I'll go ahead and set that up. All right, great job, everybody. Thank you very much.